Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to tell you something that's going to blow your freaking mind. It's Wednesday. It's April 13th. It's 2011. And this is Newbie Tuesday on Day 9 Daily, number 285. But wait, it's Wednesday. That's right, because on Tuesday, my graphic card had a wonderful little Hindenburg-style action. I was in the middle of some incredibly salient point about improvement. And then a loud pop happened at the back of my computer, and it shut down and wouldn't turn back on. And I'm like tweeting from my phone. I'm crying. I'm really upset. And then it miraculously started working, and apparently nothing was really functioning on my graphics card. But now things are kind of okay. Still the same graphics card. Never found out what exactly blew out. I'm sure it's a capacitor, and that's pretty bad. But you know what? I had class all day today, so I haven't had time to repair it. But don't worry, parts are coming. Whoops. And what we're going to do is we're just going to pray. Dear computer gods, please do not crash my computer. Please. If you'd be so kind as to pray in the chat. I see little people making little praying faces. I appreciate that. We do want the daily to occur today. So let's do Day 9 Dailies Newbie Tuesday again today. And it's an interesting thing to note because I've had practice. I have done this almost twice now, so we're going to get the chance to see exactly how it ends up turning out, how it ends up looking. All right, good. All the settings are ready to go. Let's dive right in. Once upon a time, you wanted to be better at StarCraft 2, and you said to yourself, but what, how, what do I do? And you thought, well, I'll just watch the Day 9 Daily, and you hear me say things like, you have to have a plan, think about this, trust yourself, develop your own style, tweak these things, and you went, yeah, but how do I come up with my own plan? What is it that I am tweaking? How do I go about doing that? And that is the topic of today's daily. It is how to steal a build order and to make it your own. One of the most important things in StarCraft 2 is while you're wandering around looking at all these replays, or, watching the GSL or something like that, and you see a build that someone does and you go, ooh, I want to do that too. And it's so important to know that it's not even important that you know why it's good. You don't even have to know any of the whys. You just have to be able to copy it pretty straight upedly and do it. And that is what we're going to talk about today. We're going to do a multiple step process, and to do this, I'm going to use the help of my favorite trusty Notepad, and I'll do the same thing I did yesterday. Hello, Notepad, how are you? I'm fine, Sean. Oh, thank you. And it was so clever yesterday before my computer crashed. All right. So what we're going to do is first we're going to talk about the wrong way to do things. The wrong way to steal a build order. This is very bad. This is what people do. This is the wrong order. Everything about today is... I lost some words. Everything I'm about to say today in the next 30 seconds should make you kind of... make you feel sick and you want to eject. Step 1. Get a replay. Period. All right. Watch said replay. Write down all times. Do times. Right? This is what people do. They'll load up their replay and they'll be like, okay, at 9 of 10 there was a pylon. Okay, all right, I'm doing that. Okay, so then what's happening next? Okay, this is all horrible. This is all so bad. 13 of 17, gateway. Okay, 14 of 17, assimilator. Better get that second pylon, because that's exactly what the guy did. And then I guess 18 of 26, cybernetics, core. Start writing down these things. 19 of 26, zealot. 22 of 26, assimilator. And, I mean, it just goes on, right? It just goes on and on. And this is miserable. Why is this so bad? Why is this the worst thing in the known universe? A couple of reasons why it's the worst thing in the known universe. First of all, up to this point right here, if I'm not mistaken, this is like before 3 minutes and 30 seconds in the game. This is like early. And if we just sort of continue down with this logic, actually this should be at exactly 3 minutes and 30 seconds, if I'm not mistaken. And then as we continue down, I mean, like, what happens when we're like, yeah, at 56 of, I don't even know, ninth, No. 9th pylon, I guess. I mean, what happens? Okay, so what happens in this ... if there's an attack or if you scout something? Like what happens here? Or even worse off, this is honestly the reason why I hate using these sorts of food lists. If you are not absolutely crisp with that execution, you're not ever going to see this stuff line up properly. What if you forgot a probe? What if, in the course of playing, you forgot to build some probes here? Forgot probes. Then all of a sudden, when you're doing 18 to 26 cybernetics core, this becomes late. This is the huge issue. So what I want you to think of right now is that this thing, this whole blah, 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 that junk, is the last step when stealing any build order. What we're going to do is we're going to watch a game, we're going to get a good idea of what's going on, and then we're going to, one step at a time, flesh out all the details of it. We're going to hammer them into our brain, and the last step, once you have taken a build and refined it down and thought through all the possibilities, is you will churn out something like this. This is not the first step. There's everything wrong with this, right? No understanding, no intuition. If you mess up, it feels terrible. I mean, you know, it's kind of funny because one of my friends, he couldn't keep up with building one probe at a time, so this pylon would be incredibly late. He'd build a probe, and literally he would, mess up, right? Because he would, I don't know. I have no idea why. But he showed me a replay. He's like, I understand what I'm doing wrong. And he was just late on this pylon. And I'd be like, you have to constantly build probes. It's kind of constant. It's marginally constant. I'm like, there are no degrees of being constant. Nerd. Ugh. I was all upset at him. So this is the process that we're going to go through. The right way. Oh my god, what happened to our H? Come on, participate. This is what we're going to do. First, we are going to watch a replay, and we're going to create building groups, what I call building groups. And I'm even going to stretch this notepad out a little farther. Ah, very good. And then we're going to fill in unit mixes. Great, cool. And then we're going to refine. And then, after this, profit? No. Then we'll have that food list. We'll have something that looks like this. We'll have this sort of refined result. That's what will end up happening. But these are the 3 steps that you need to do. Create building groups, fill in the unit mixes, and refine. Now, I want to say something right now that is a very important concept. You always hear me say this. Just work on one thing at a time. Just one thing at a time. Yeah, just as long as you're working on this, as long as you're working on that. That's exactly what we're going to be doing today, right? We're not going to worry about all this stuff at the same time. I'm only going to talk about buildings at the start. Screw what units we make. Ugh, what buildings are being made. Because it's almost impossible to keep all that stuff in your head. There was this amazing study that's quoted a lot by education researchers about how the human brain can only hold 7 plus or minus 2 things in the brain at the same time. You can only really juggle 7 different things at once. So, for instance, have you guys ever looked at some of those goofy match 4 color games or something like Bejeweled, a lot of goofy iPhone games, things that kind of look like Tetris? If you look at a lot of those, you'll notice that the number of columns or the number of rows is consistently 7. And it kind of ties back into that. A Connect 4 has 7 things in it. Again, 7 plus or minus 2 is about the most things that you can hold in your brain at the same time. So, for me, screw having 7 things in my brain. I'm going to do one thing at a time, right? The important thing is I don't want to overload my brain. What I want to do is I want to do my building groups, and then I want to just deal with that for a little while. And then I want to start filling in units, and I just want to deal with that for a little while. And then I want to refine, and I want to deal with that for a little while. One step at a time. So, good. Let's go about stealing a build order. I'm ready. Are you ready? Some of you who tuned in yesterday are like, yeah, I already saw this, but that's cool. Bam! Let's do it. Going right in. Step 1. Divine inspiration from a game. Now, I have to briefly check the time to make sure I loaded the correct game. I did. We have Squirtle against Moon. Now, How did I come up with these games? Well, once upon a time, I was shoutcasting at the Intel Extreme Masters World Championship in Hanover, Germany. So I was being all super German for the weekend, and the little one and Rotterdam were doing commentary, so I was the one who was off. So what does a commentator do when on a break from StarCraft? Well, he watches more StarCraft. So I sat behind Squirtle, and I was really inspired by just a very simple, clean 5-gate timing push that he did. I like to get my expansions relatively quickly in really any strategy game, and I like being aggressive, so it kind of piqued my interest. I thought, ooh, I want to steal that. So that is the first step. Really, I should include this as I'm gonna write this down. 0th step: get inspired. And I think this step could be considered as important as the other ones because honestly, you should play a style that you like. You shouldn't be like, well, he wins and he plays boring. I guess I have to be boring too. Just do whatever ends up exciting you. So, what we're going to do now is we're going to go through this game of Squirtle playing as though we were watching it live. Come on, computer. All right, there we go. Don't choke on me, little computer. Come on, make some noises, little computer. Oh, no, there it was. It was already enabled. Herp, derp, derp. Sorry I'm derping so derp today, guys. Derpty derpty derp. Alright, so I was watching the game, and he was building pylons. Okay, he's building gateways. Probes are churning out. Oh, that's great. There's an assimilator going down. A zealot ends up popping out. Oh, we have a sentry. I've seen that before. Come on, computer. Come on, don't crash on me. Come on, sweetie. Come on. Come on. I might even have to slow this down, because my computer just cannot handle processing this almost 200 kilobyte file. Oh. So I'm seeing him do this 3 gateway stuff. And you know, I'm not going to lie, I actually love 3 gateway openings in this matchup. So that's the reason why I end out. So that pylons get built. We're seeing some chrono boosts go down. Really care so much. We're seeing, ooh, a force field thrown down. Could this game go any slower, Sean asks. No big deal. We're now seeing some sentries pop down and an expansion. And I was watching this and I was thinking, yeah, I see this a lot. This is no big deal. I'm just looking around, and then he just gets these very too fast gateways. Now, a lot of times you will see a player build a robo and a forge, or build a forge and a 4th gateway, just generally kind of have that forge there. I mean, sometimes people get all fancy and cut the forge when they're getting the robo, but you know, 5-gate pushes, I was kind of like, oh, cool. I've seen people do this before. I wonder how his is going to turn out. In my experience, I've always kind of had bumpy 5-gate builds. I felt like I wasn't using my gateways enough, and I couldn't quite support building gateway units and building pylons and building probes and all this stuff. So I was watching, and oh my goodness, what happened? Oh, here comes some stalkers, and then Squirtle morphed these bad boys into warp gates, and did this huge push. And this is actually quite fast. We're at the 9-minute mark. And then we saw some great force fields. We saw more units streaming up, and I was watching this, and I was like, oh my god, Zerg's just dead. I mean, he has some Hydras, but man, that's going to be hard to hold off. And amazingly, Moon ends up defending this push, but I was just still so excited by how close this game seemed. Oh my gosh, are you hearing me? Are you hearing me? Are you getting the sense that I'm getting inspired? Good, that is always our first step. That's exactly how we want to be rolling around. And then he ends up pulling back. The attack didn't work, but it looked like Squirtle now does have somewhat of a stable economy. And I thought, I want to steal that build. My good friend Squirtle, I love what you're doing to me. I want to be just like you. So let's go ahead and do that. So, we've just been inspired. It took like 3 minutes to get inspired. Oh my gosh, I don't have time for that. You can make 3 minutes to get inspired by an amazing player. So good, we've done that. So now what I want to do is I want to do what's called creating building groups. So, alright, step 1. Here's my building groups. Now, what I mean by this is that I am going to create like group 1, group 2, group 3. I'm not going to create that many groups. And I'm just going to collect buildings together, right? And put them in groups. I know that you're going to end up building them in an order, but I want you to ignore that order. Like, let me give an example. A Terran who goes 1 barracks, and then adds on 2 more barracks, and then takes an expansion and builds a factory. I would literally do something like this. 3 barracks, and then group 2 would be expand, factory. Ignored the order. Ignored the order. Just put them in groups. The easiest way that I do a groups is like this. I do the stuff before the expand, and then the stuff after the expand. Boom! 3 groups. Done! Clean. Simple. Nothing extreme. That's all I'm going to end up doing, right? So let's go ahead and hit our T button, which every commentator accidentally hits when trying to hit the R button to open up the resource tab. It's happened to every single commentator. So we're just going to blast on through this game as fast as we can and just start noting down all the buildings that we see. Alright, I'm going to ignore pylons because I'm just going to assume that you have to build those. Alright, we have some gateways, we have some gases. Alright, he's building some units, but I don't care about the units, I'm just looking at buildings. All I care about are my buildings, that's all I'm caring about. Okay, so he has 3 gateways, 2 gases, a cybernetics core. Is he doing anything else? Well, he expanded. Is there anything else I'm missing? No. Alright, cool. So I'm going to come over here, my stuff. My group 1, I'm going to call it 3 gateways, 2 gas, 1 core. I'm done. That's all I'm going to write. Simple, clean, easy, efficient. Little tiny box to work in. Alright, cool. And then we see the expand. Is anything else getting built around the same time as the expand? If it was like Expo Forge, I might write that down. But no, it looks like nothing was built at that same time. And then we're going to build 2 more gateways. Okay, and then there's the push. Is there any forge here? No. Alright, cool. So look at my groups. Group 2, Nexus. Group 3, 2 more gates. Isn't that easy? Simple! Simple. He's being extremely simple with his analysis. Now, I need to just rewind just one little bit. Sorry, amazingly large overlay. I just want to write down something. No, I didn't mean to hit P on you, little overlay. I just want to write down one little teensy, tiny, weensy, deensy time for when we go back and look. I had all this yesterday, but my computer crashed. Oh, how tragic. I'm going to write down one little number off to the side here. Alright, it has now been written down. I've now successfully ended up writing that down, and I will just include one more little note on my thing. 7 of those, 2 of those. Good. Perfect. What did Sean just do? Something that you're only going to worry about on the last step of your refinement. Last step. You don't need to worry about it now. All you need to do now is know, alright, dun-dun-dun-dun-dun. I got some building groups down, and this is what I want you to do now. I want you to play 2 to 3 games. And just focus on making sure that you get all this up, and then you do all this, and then you do all this. So let's go ahead and do that. Quit in the replay. And now my computer has to load back into StarCraft 2 because it has to patch, and we're going to end up logging back in. But in the course of logging back in, I want to talk about the steps that we are going to end up going through. Uh-oh. Uh-oh, that's not good. Come on. Come on, StarCraft 2. Come on, don't crash on me. Yes! Yes! My computer is so unstable today. And if this crashes again, I will cry. Right here. I will break down and sob and weep. Logging in, I'm putting in my personal email, which none of you will know. If I can type properly. Did I forget? No. And let me log in. Good! You hear those noises? That's perfect. So what we're going to do now is we're going to play through, and we're just going to make sure that we hit our basic building groups. This is not going to be anything extreme, like me trying to make sure my timing is similar to that of Squirtle's. Noticing I'm not going to play against a human being at all. That's not part of the state. One of these parts are other people. And that's because, again, there's a lot that goes on with the whole, playing against other people, all the stuff you have to manage, all the scouting and micro and unit control you have to do. We haven't even thought about unit yet. Keep in mind, we're just thinking about buildings. So we're just going to go. I'm going to play a game on Xel'Naga Caverns. I would probably label this as my favorite map. I'm going to choose Protoss because that's the correct race. I'm going to be yellow because that's the color of men. I'm going to choose a wicked Zerg opponent, but I'm going to make them very easy because if I get 6-pool during this demonstration, that would be raw-delicious delicious. So let's pretend that this is your first or second game with this build order. And what we're just... Oh my god, I'm awful. what we are going to be doing is just focusing on these building groups. I am not going to play quickly. I am not going to try to be fancy. I am only going to try to make sure I'm building all my buildings in my first group, all in my second, all in my third. That's all that I am going to do now that I have my building groups done. Again, a very easy way to do that is to just note what happens before the expand, what happens after the expand, and then what happens right at the time of the expand. So I'm sending this guy out. Build. Come on back. Notice I'm not playing perfectly. I'm not setting up any like fancy shift queues like this. Just something nice and slow because I'm pretending that I'm perhaps, you know, a Silver League level player who's maybe only played team games and is just stepping into 1v1s for the first time. And I'm trying to demonstrate that this isn't about ultra speed or ultra memorization. What we're doing right now is we're developing a sensitivity to how these groups end up feeling. I'm not going to play horrible, but I'm going to try to make sure that I get these building groups done really nicely. So let's build my gateway. Alright, good. Should probably get a gas because that was one of the things that I saw that guy do. And what you'll slowly end up noticing as you're just playing not that many games, just 2 to 3 to make sure we get our building groups down, is you'll start to notice a couple of things like, ooh, I maybe built that one too early. Ooh, I maybe built that one too late. Like, let me do a really exaggerated example where I'm like, oops, I'm trying to be really good. Better not supply block myself. Okay, let's do that. And hey, I have some money left over for a gas. I'll do that. Cool. Oops, forgot to chrono boost. Oh my goodness. Should I care about that? No, because I'm not in the refinement step. I'm just trying to get these buildings down. And then I'm running over here, and I'm noticing, uh-oh, I don't have enough for a cybernetics core yet. I don't have enough. Alright, there, now I have enough. And then you might say something to yourself like, you know, I think I built this assimilator a little bit too early. And you start to get a sense of the overall ordering that happens within these groups, right? Oh crap, I should make a zealot. Let's chrono boost you. Yeah. I just want you to be sensitive of how your buildings are lining up. And what will slowly happen is that you will develop an ordering for these building groups. A very simple ordering. By the way, there is nothing wrong. Sorry, don't mind if I pause it. Player 2, my arch enemy. There is nothing wrong with playing this, I don't know, maybe 5 games or 6 games. You know what? Let's just make it a little higher. It's important that you just get a good comfort with how things feel. So let's get our warp gate upgrade. Ooh, crap. That's going to be exciting. I have some chrono boost. Let me churn that bad boy out. Yeah, all right. I'm looking good. Am I the man or what? I'm just got my building groups done. Oops, gonna make another probe. Yeah, I'm awesome. How much chrono boost do I have? Ooh, I'm really on fire today. I can even save it for chrono boost. Chrono boost that, you know, maybe my sentry out a little bit. I'll build another sentry. That's pretty awesome. And then, oh no, pylons! Whoops, I kind of forgot about that. Oh my goodness. And you know what? I'm gonna build 2 because I really don't want to get supply blocked. You're noticing what I'm doing is intentionally forgetting a pylon here. That's fine. That's okay to forget a pylon, or to forget a probe, or to not have the best macro in the world. Just get your groups down a little bit. Just get your groups down a little bit. So I remember that I need to build those 2 gateways, so I'll go ahead and build those now. And now it looks like, hey, 3 gateways, 2 gas, 1 core. Yeah! Got group 1! Check! Done! Feeling awesome. Alright, I want to chrono boost out that sentry. I'm feeling pretty good about that. Let's chrono boost out some probes. I'm feeling pretty darn good about that. And the reason we're playing these 2 to 5 games is, again, referencing that idea of I certainly cannot hold everything in my head at the same time, so I may as well do little tiny groups at a time. And why am I expanding right now? Why on earth would I be expanding? Well, because I've already built everything in Group 1. Time to move on to Group 2. Alright, unpause. Alright, I'm going over here. Boom! Building a Nexus. Boom! Is my warp gate done? Let's warp them on in. Okay. That's pretty cool. You know what? Make another pylon here. Yeah. You're noticing I actually have plenty of food. I don't need to build that pylon, but I also don't care. I also don't care, because that is not one of the steps of this game. I'm going to build some stalkers, because stalkers are awesome. So I'm going to try to build those. Yeah, I'm going to keep on building some probes here. Now, what's the next step? Do I have anything else in group 2? No! It's time to build 2 more gateways! Yeah! So I'm going to build those 2 gateways right now. I'm going to just try to build those, you know, just get them out of the way. And here is a really key moment I want you to note with me. Right here. See these 3 warp gates? I can actually produce out of them. Let's actually just get a few inches farther. There we go. See, I can produce 3 units. I don't know if you can see that little 3 there, but I'll just tell you that these warp gates are all available to build units. And if I look at my money, I can't build 3 units. I'm actually broke. Ugh. What does that mean? Well, you know, I just kind of ignored. I really ignored, you know, units this time. I just focused on buildings. But now I'm starting to be a little more sensitive. I'm starting to be a little sensitive in this create building groups phase, and I'm starting to realize to myself, I might be doing things a little too early or a little too late. That's okay. Feel free to play an extra maybe 1 or 2 games and get a sense of, ooh, yeah, these 2 gateways, I want to build them. I built them at 40 food, but I should really wait until I'm maybe at 50 food. I just built them a little too early. Now suddenly, I only have one little thing I'm keeping in my head, right? I only have one little thing that, like, here's my footnotes. The only thing that I really... Footnotes! There we go, footnotes. I might say, you know, gates 4, 5 after 50 food. This might be something I have. And remember the wrong way of doing things? We were like 9 of 10 pylon and 13 of 17 gateway. And there would be all these steps. And then it would be like 50 food, gates 4 and 5. That's the way that someone who's trying to just copy and write down timings exactly would do. I want you to just note that this little note that we gave to ourselves is the starting of that. Again, I always say that this list is the last step in acquiring a build order, not the first step. It is the last step. We're starting to see exactly how that comes about, right? We're starting to see, you know, maybe have a little bit of a footnote there on that exact thing. So good. So great. I'm going to unpause it. I'm going to leave this. F10. Surrender. Player 2 victorious again. I'll get you, player 2. Now what I want you to do is I want you to go back to that game where you got your inspiration, and I want you to fill in what unit mixes end up in your groups. Now you might do something a little fancier. I actually like doing this where I might say, 1 gate, 1 core, or excuse me, 1 gas, 1 core, 2 gates. Oopsie daisies. You can write down these things, and we'll note that we get a grand total of 3 gates, 2 gas, 1 core. You don't have to be this explicit, but it's important to keep in mind that having n order is probably going to be pretty useful. But let's still leave it in this general sense. We've played with just our buildings, right? And I want you to fill in what the unit mixes look like in Group 1. I will tell you, don't get really specific. Keep it kind of general and broad, because you don't want to try to be keeping track of everything all in your head at once. And because I don't want to have to reload that replay again, we want to, obviously not be overly pedantic, I'll just tell you it's very few zealots, lots of sentries. Few zealots, lots of sentries. That's the unit mix. That's there. Boom, done. Nexus 2, only sentries. Sentries, there we go. Only sentries. Well, the Nexus is getting built. What about Group 3? Only stalkers. Easy! Alright, cool! Now what we want to do is we want to go back in and we want to play with these unit mixes, and we're going to start to see things line up a little bit more easily. And in particular, this little footnote, we're going to see might not actually be as much of a problem as we thought. Oh my gosh. Okay, so in terms of unit mixes, I still want you to play another 4 to 5 games. I kind of want you to play more. I guess I could say 3 to 5, but you know what? Play through your build a little bit more. What you'll probably notice around this step especially, is that you're starting to have a little bit more refinement in your gameplay. You're starting to have a little bit more refinement. You're starting not to forget those pylons. You're starting to build gateways 2 and 3 at around the same time every single time, and that's good. You should let yourself refine if you can so remember it. But what I want to drill into your head is that you should only be thinking of units as the main thing, because all the buildings, this part, these buildings should be automated in your head right now. That should be automated in your head because you've played so many games with it. Feel free to play more games than you need. There's no reason to be like, well, I'm at 5 games, I better move on to the unit part. If you're still having trouble remembering the exact ordering of your buildings, or if you're still having trouble remembering certain elements, that is absolutely fine. Don't rush yourself. Just do it whenever you're so ready. Oh, I guess I did the MLG Pro version. Yeah, little probies, do yo thing. I'm going to begin mining again. I think I am at the fastest game speed. I'll hit the plus anyways. I still have a really bad habit of hitting P instead of E to build a probe because I played Brood War for 12 years, and that's what happens to your fingers. They start doing their own thing. So let's say that this is the 4th or 5th game in the process of me trying to refine my build. The 4th or 5th game, I might be pretty darn good with some of my timings. Ooh, yeah. And now I'm even sending some guys back. And what I'm going to note right now in this game is that I'm still going to ignore the fact that there might be battles going on. I'm not playing against a computer. I'm just fiddling at my home base. But man, do I have that chrono boost timing down. Now, I'm going to tell you a very cute timing. Here's a very, very easy timing. I want you to bring your eyes down here. You see the progress bar on this probe, how it's halfway across this 4 square? See how it's halfway across? For this next probe, when this next probe is building halfway across, that's when my chrono boost wears off. These are things that I'll end up noticing over time. So watch it when it's halfway across the 4. Here it comes. Halfway across the 4. Boom. And now I have a perfectly timed second chrono boost. And of course, in the process of telling you that, I didn't end up building the gateway when I wanted. So, okay. So I'm going to build the gateway. I'm incidentally noticing that, hey, you know what? I built that on 14. I'm even going to send out a scout worker just to pretend that I'm playing a real game. I'm not even going to look at them. I'm only going to look at my base. All right? Control 5. 4, 4 to come back to my nexus, building another probe. And I'm starting to get a little bit better with my refinement, because I have my building orderings down. But what we're going to look at is we're going to start to see... we're going to start to see how these, our units, interact with these buildings. Only after we're really comfortable with our buildings. Ooh, I gotta try to play faster. Ugh. Coming over here. Build a cybernetics core. Build a zealot. Come back here. Yeah. E. Oh yeah, I got a chrono boost. I'm not playing very quickly. You're noticing. I'm making every click I do very audible. But I have a good memory for what it is I'm trying to do. How's my zealot doing? He's almost done. Okay. I'm gonna come back to my nexus. Gotta keep building those probes. Alright, his life's for iron. Good. Alright, putting guys into gas. Oh, yeah, I gotta build this. I gotta upgrade the warp gate. Oops. Okay, now chrono boost. Oops, I'm almost forgetting a pylon. Better be good about that. Okay, alright. I'm trying to do this as best I can. And this is where my money starts to get saved up. Alright, cool. Build my gateways. I'm having a lot... Notice how much lower my money is? And then because I told myself, yeah, I'm building only sentries. Everything's low. Oh, cool. The money I saved by building gas-heavy sentries is what lets me build these gateways. I'm going to say that one more time. The gas-heavy sentries helped me save money so I could build my gateways. That is a concept you hear me just sort of dash out all the time. But if you have never played 1v1 and never watched a Day 9 Daily, and you have only seen this one, and you play Terran, you might suddenly do something like, oh, I'm building a Raven right now, not just because it detects, but because it's gas heavy, which lets me build more barracks. You start to see that there's a relationship between these units and these buildings. So, okay, cool. Coming back to the game. All right, am I forgetting pylons? Okay, come on. Come on, hands. Come on, be good to me. All right, cool. How far along is this? Those are pretty darn close to being done. I guess I want to chrono boost that. Sure, you know, I'll chrono boost out another one. I'll chrono boost you. And okay, I have all my buildings. I have my 3 gateways. I'm gonna go build a nexus. All right, grabbing my guys. Come on, go down the ramp. All right, I'm gonna build myself my nexus. Come back here, little probe. You know what? I'm gonna ignore my units. I want to make sure that just my buildings are doing the right thing. Again, I'm playing this just very excessively drawn-outedly. So there's the E, the E, the E. Good. Guys, go there. I'm ignoring anything else that could be going on along the map. I'm also noticing, hey, I'm kind of starting to stockpile some money. But you know what? I remembered that I wanted to, because of my practice, I wanted to build gates 4 and 5 after 50 food. I about have enough to do it right now, but that's just a little bit of a note that I did. I don't want to build it at 40 food. Sentries. Zealot, and trying to build that next sentry. Come on, E, E, E. Alright, cool. Now I'm going to build these 2 gateways. Because that's what my footnotes said. Notice... Uh-oh. I just did print screen instead of pause. Notice that, hey, few zealots and lots of sentries at the start. Only sentries! Well, you know what? I didn't quite have enough money when I was building that nexus to build only sentries, so I guess I can do 1 zealot. Okay, cool. Alright, I made a little adjustment. I made a little teensy-tiny adjustment. And you know what? If I rewatched that one game, I would still note that, yeah, 1 zealot popped out. But I want to steer you away from even having numbers on here. You can have 1, few, or lots. That's all I'm going to let you have. I don't want you to put like 7 of these and 4 of these and blah, and blah, because that's what we want to do in the last step. We just kind of want to fill in the blank and see how things end up feeling. And I'm just feeling low on gas, right? But that's okay. I was feeling high on money. Ooh, so now I build these fancy extra gateways. And I'm broke. I don't know exactly why I'm broke. Oh, crap. I gotta transfer probes. Go. Again, intentionally slowly. I'm gonna wait till I have 50. Maybe that's... or 150. Let me just... S. Did I maybe forget any guys in gas? No. Alright, my things are mining. Here's my other warp gates. You know, I have some chrono boost saved up. I don't know if that's bad or not, but... I do. And then let's get some more gateways. Gate. Yeah. Oops, gonna build some probes. Oh no, I haven't been building probes in a long time. I am so shamed. And now I'm just gonna continue to build some stuff. And hey, you know what? This army's looking kind of like Squirtles. I seem incapable of using this extra gateway, and I'm not really that sure why. I'm getting attacked. Okay, well now I'm building it. I got attacked up there, and I'm a little bit sad about that, but that's okay. Ooh, forgot about this. Oh no. And now I'm going to actually leave this game, because what did we learn in that, right? We started to get a good sense of these unit mixes, and we started to see maybe when and where we should build extra things, when and where we shouldn't build. But we're still kind of getting a relatively clean sense of how this ends up getting output, right? And I was not playing quickly. I was not trying to be zippy and darty around the map. I was not scouting. I was not pretending any of that stuff, because still, we want to be in this phase, right? We want to be in this phase. Now, for the refinement process, I spend a lot of games here. But you don't have to. I just want you to spend another 3 to 5 games refining. And you'll notice that it's basically between like 10 and 15 games I want you to devote. And you might think to yourself, oh God, 10 to 15 games? That's so many just playing against another person. Or playing with just myself. It's not actually that long. It's probably less than an hour by a lot. Because I played about 20 games before a daily when I started at like 520. Just 20 games to try to refine a build. And this will actually become quite exciting. Now, let me show you what exactly can end up occurring in that refinement game. Let me show you how a refinement game looks like. This is when you've completely automated what you end up building. You're just trying to make sure that your timings are crisp. Really crisp timing. Now, what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to go to this gameplay. Now, there's a way to confine your mouse cursor. There we go. So, return to game. So, yeah. So, now my mouse actually hits these hard edges. Because that's actually something I don't leave on. Because, you know, a lot of times I want to see what you guys are saying in the chat. So, I want my mouse to pop out. But I want to be able to scroll around the screen. So, this is when, you know, I'm like, oh, yeah, I might be doing all my boxes. Might be trying to play really fast. I'm, again, going to try to not play really ultra, you know, lightning speedery. I just want to end up, you know, trying to have this nice and refined. And you might ask yourself, gee, Dave, why do you play so many games in this refinement step? Well, part of something I've been struggling with a lot, and I told some people this not long ago, that I actually have recently changed mouse pads, and it's changed the way my control feels. By the way, notice right as I got 100 minerals, that's right when this pylon was able to go down. Right when I got 100 minerals, because in my refinement phase, I'm trying to line this up. So here's my refinement. Okay, I'm just checking for when that pylon is done, so I can do a chrono boost right away. Good. This is my refinement phase. I already know exactly, yeah, see there, I had to Alt-Tab so you could see me. I already know what groups I'm building. I already know what units I'm building. Oh yeah, we just added on. And now with unit mixes, cool. I've just now, you know, gotten this all down, and I want to try to make it crisp and clean. Yeah, so let's unpause. All right. So, you know, remember, halfway between the 4. It's going to be a little less than halfway this time. All right, we're going to be a little less than halfway, and then, boom, there it is. All right, cool. So I'm going to be building my gateway on 13. And, oops, it was almost exactly the way I wanted it. Almost exactly the way I wanted it, but it was maybe a little bit off. And you know what? I'm going to now pretend that I'm doing a scouting probe over here. Alright, there's my gateway, this control 5. Alright, and here is my 15 gas. Alright, cool. And this is a point in time where I'm actually not going to look at my base. I'm just going to be controlling this probe around his base. And I'm going to be occasionally popping back here just to build the things that I need to build. Oops, did I forget a chrono boost? Ooh, I may have almost done that. Oh, how embarrassing. How's my gateway's progress doing? It's getting close to done. My gas finished. Oops. Bring that guy back. Ah, it's hard to play on a small screen. But you know what? I'm going to end up coming back here. The cybernetics core I'm missing because I'm awful. Alright, cool. I'm saving up this chrono boost right now, and I'm going to try to keep my eyes off the screen for as long as possible. Or my eyes off my base. Because I'm in the refinement process. So, I'm going to be building a zealot in a moment. Here comes my zealot. There it is. Am I forgetting gas at all? How's this timing doing on the simulator? Because this is the refinement step. Remember? So, it's okay for me to try to make myself be a little bit, you know, be a little harder on myself maybe. There's the warp gate going down. I chrono boosted it. We have a sentry popping out as well. I'm going to be building some more gateways in a moment here. And some things that I could consider in refinement would be something like building placement. building placement, you know, timing of chrono boost. I'm saving my chrono boost up to do another chrono boost on there. I'm continuing to wander around. Better not lose that to the computer. How embarrassing that would be. I'm doing lots of 4-5, 4-5 tapping. I'm trying to get used to my hotkeys. Again, another very important step in this refinement process. And I'm going to continue to wander around with this little proby guy. Ooh, oopsie daisies. I ended up rallying on the wrong side. Something I would want to work on in my next few games of refinement. Let's chrono boost that again. Oops, better not forget this pylon. And what we're going to end up seeing is after this game's done, I'm going to actually benchmark how I played against how Squirtle played. I haven't forgotten a probe thus far, and I would even want to maybe rewatch this replay to see how that turned out. There's my other sentry. My gateway, oopsie daisies. Oh my goodness, my probe. Does he possibly come out at a worse time? Come on, little proby. So I'm moving down here. Let's go ahead and pull this back, and let's just fake some crazy rough unit control. There's my sentries moving down. Here's this. Trying to make sure I remember these screen hotkeys, my F hotkeys. Alright, so I'm wandering around. And you know what? This chrono boost ended up saving up last game as well. Let's make sure that doesn't happen. Let's spend that chrono boost a little bit more strongly. So, I could be looking around at my base, but I want to push myself a little bit. I'm building one extra zealot in there. You know, Squirtle hid some of these units. So we could possibly end up doing something a little bit like that. Oopsie daisies. But you know what? No big deal. Ooh, maybe I'm building this a little bit early. Should I be building it at 50? Should I be building it at 48? I'm on like the last step of my refinement. Oh my gosh, and I actually don't have enough money to be able to produce anything. But you know what? That's okay, because I rewatched that Squirtle game, and he was also saving up his money. And there's my transfer. I want to try to get that really nice and on time. And then we're going to end up trying to set a couple of benchmarks in our play. Alright. I'm actually going to cut probes for right now because I've seen some games where a player ended up doing this. Better not get pylon blocked. In the course of trying to play through this many, many times, I started to realize when I could and when I couldn't sneak out extra probes. Come on, come on. And now all of a sudden I'm coming out with a pretty intimidating looking push. And sometimes at a moment like this, you might say to yourself, I didn't quite pull it off with the same skill that Squirtle ended up doing. I was a little bit low on money. Ooh, I better move this guy out for a proxy. So now, all of a sudden, we have this build that we're beginning to advance forward. Got to make sure, okay, I want to have this as control 2, these guys as 1. Let me continue to make this. Is this... Oh my god, a stray roach! Warping! I'm going to end up stopping this game. And we're actually going to end up leaving this game. Surrender. Good. Come on, come back to me. Yes, that's what happens when we can find the mouse cursor. So you notice in that last game, there was a lot more focus on having things line up exactly. Maybe I should have waited till 50 food instead of 48 to build those 2 gateways. I would end up playing this out a lot. And then, as some of the last steps in terms of refinement, what you want to do is get benchmarks. This is pretty darn important for you to do. I do lots of benchmarking to myself. When I rewatched that game with Squirtle, at 6 minutes and 15 seconds, he expanded. I want to double check myself to make sure I did that at least that early. And also, I note at 8 minutes and 30 seconds, he had 7 Stalkers, 7 Zealots, 2 Sentries. And also feel free to have questions like, did he cut probes at any point? Was he not building out of those gateways at any point? We can ask ourselves these questions and we can just benchmark them. You know, you'll notice that twice when I played today, twice, I said to myself, I mean, I can't exactly produce out of these gateways. I can get a couple rounds of Zealots and Sentries, but I can't do much more. Is that bad? Did I mess the build up? And then actually, when I go back and rewatch, I go, wow, no, Squirtle actually cut units. He cut them pretty hard. And then I want to say, oh, at 8 minutes and 30 seconds, that's when he moved out. And then when I rewatch the game of myself, what we're actually going to see is I was moving out a little bit earlier. So maybe, look at me zipping around at lightning speed. And of course, while this is all going on, gameplay, oops, controls, automatic. Yeah, now I can swing right on over that edge. Oh, that's so nifty. And I could do things like get probe counts. Ooh, that's another thing I want to note. I want to note, like, you know, what was his probe count at time X, Y, and Z. Because you'll start to notice little patterns that you do. Like, for instance, here's my pattern. Here's a big curse of mine. I constantly do builds with really, really fragile timings, and that's what I really like. But it means that my instinct over the years of playing RTS games has been get things faster. Get it faster, get it faster, get it faster. So you'll even see, like this game, let's point out one of those things that ended up occurring. By the way, ooh, 5 minutes and 51 seconds. Ooh, I was actually a little ahead of Squirtle in that game. I'm very pleased with myself. But, you know, did I get it too early? I don't know, but okay, that was the moment right there. This was a pretty important moment where I built one gateway, but then didn't have enough money to build a second, and it cost me a probe. So again, just to review that one more time, look at my Nexus, not building a probe. See, there was a little gap there, because my instinct is to build everything as fast as possible. However, that's something that I constantly bite against. It's something I fight against in the refinement process, where I try to make sure, okay, I don't want to cut probes. I don't want to cut pylons. I don't want to cut probes. I don't want to cut pylons. And I try to make sure that I'm getting things a little later than my gut tells me to. Because my gut in that game, I promise you, was going, uh-oh, is this coming out too late? Are these guys coming out too late? I want to hit the guy early. I better cut probes. Like, look at these two Nexuses. Neither are making probes. Neither are making probes. Here comes out some more dudes. Neither are making probes. Neither are making probes. And hey, you know what? I moved out with 7 Stalkers, 8 Sentries, and 3 Zealots. Oh, hey, you know what? In this thing, I noticed that, you know, Squirtle was moving out with, whoopsie daisies, 7. Oh gosh, I hope no one turned the show off. I noticed that I had 1 more Sentry and 1 more Zealot. Was that good or bad? Well, I'd have to check things like maybe he wasn't cutting probes. Maybe he was constantly building probes and he actually cut that Zealot. Maybe he just wanted the first set out. Maybe he was actually cutting units. And now I can start to really balance and refine. And then at the very, very end of playing through these games, I will have myself what we call a food list, where I will be able to say 9 of 10 Pylon, 14 of 17 Gateway, 15 of 17 Assimilator, and then we can do 16, 17 Pylon, and I actually get my core, not 18 of 17, 18 of 26 core, and I can start to say, you know, double Gateway at 22 of 26, you know, I'll end up with these really nice timing, 3 Chrono on the core. I can get some really, really nice timings to fall on out of it. And then I can adjust them as I please because, and this is the important part, because I went through these steps, if I encounter some problem, if I am up against the wall in some fashion, in terms of thinking, if you're going about it the wrong way, if you do this first, you will say, well, I don't know what to do. I had a good build, but it's just a timing. It's too strong. Oh, I'm playing rock, paper, scissors. Because if I do this build and he does another build, then, oh, I'm screwed. You know, like, I have seen someone be up against this, and they say, oh, but it dies to... It does. It dies to some fast roaches. So it doesn't work. So it's rock, paper, scissors if you do the build. Well, you know what? Because I played with my unit mixes, I know that suddenly, if I see roaches, I can do this. And then group 3 becomes really delayed 2 more gates. And now, only sentries. Alright, you see, what used to be here was sentries. What used to be here was stalkers. And what used to be here was a really fast 2 gate. Well, I can just rearrange these. I can do stalkers here. I can do sentries here. I can do slower 2 gates here. And suddenly, I have a new thing that maybe I might need to be able to refine a little bit more. And now that you have, some good refinement, some good thoughts out of the way, you can go onto the ladder, you can begin practicing these things, and you'll have new problems that you encounter, and all of a sudden, StarCraft becomes this nice, fun trade where you're learning on your own, and you're taking your learning and you're testing it, and you're encountering new problems, and it's just so much fun to do the problem solving. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is perhaps one of the more important dailies that you'll ever have. Oh, by the way, someone was pointing out that it's X of 18. Look at me, the StarCraft 1 player. Yeah, 10 plus 8. 13 to 17. By the way, this 17 is because I played Brood War. Yeah, and your Nexus gives you 9 food. So that's right. Those are all the things I'm used to. I'm telling you, man, I will never have Brood War out of my blood. That's so awesome. Yeah, so everyone, please feel free to ask questions. I'm going to load up Markio's question grabber script that is oh so great. Come on, open up the little question grabber script. And I wanted to say that the Fun Day Monday for next week, no roaches, no hydras, no mutas, no banelings, and only 12 zerglings. You may make anything except roaches, hydras, mutas, banelings, and you may not make more than 12 zerglings. I want to see some queens and broodlords and corruptors and ultralists and defensive structures and creep spread and overseers. Yeah, that's what I want to end up seeing. So please do some fanciness like that. For next week's Newbie Tuesday, I want you to submit a replay pack of you doing these timings. I want you to create a replay pack with your building group games, a fill in the unit mix games, and a refinement games. It's okay if you include just 2 or 3 games from each, but I want you to submit a full, 10 games of you refining a build order, and I want you to include a sentence about what your building groups were at the start, what unit mixes you identified were, what things you learned in the refinement, and attach the original replay that you mimicked your build order from. It's going to be a pretty substantial submission, but the daily next week is probably going to be me looking at just one person's game. So you want to be that lucky one person. Submit that to Tuesday at day9.tv. Let's see here. What happened to the 2v2 daily week? Oh, that'll be coming up. It's never instantaneous when cool things are happening. But yeah, I just want to know that there'll be a full 2v2 week coming up. Oh, because I love 2v2. So here we go. P-Plan says, any suggestions on how to implement this process addressing larva management as Zerg? Yeah, for Zerg, what I want you to do, let me just go ahead and remove all this sort of stuff, is your building groups, I want you to do the same thing. Group 1, where it's like pool, roach, or pool, 1 gas, 1 queen. I would even include the queen as the buildings. For group 2, you do something like hatchery, because again, I like to group things in terms of expansion. Group 3, Roach Warren, second queen, second gas. I'm just kind of making this up, and it's okay to have like a 4th group. It's okay to do something like layer, 2 more gases, boom, right? So we have a really simple setup. And then when you do the unit mixes thing, I want you to note, is it drones or units? And then same thing here, drones or units? Actually, I won't put a slash, I'll make it more explicit. And to keep hammering this in, drones or units, drones or units, drones or units, drones or units. Before we would say something like, a lot of sentries, not a lot of zealots. Here I want you to be like, a lot of drones, no zerglings. Some zerglings, some drones. Like, it might look something like this, like, few lings, lot of drones. Come on, mouse, come on. A lot of drones. And then here, we'd be like, half roaches. More drones. And then we'll just be like, all roaches. And now we have a good set that we want to play with. And again, this is just me stealing someone. Is this good or bad? Should I be making drones? He said, misspelling. Well, you can answer that question in your process of refinement, in your process of playing on the ladder, but still, just make sure you're copying. Oh, here's a great question from SC Chaos Theory. He says, Dear Day 9, how do us noobs know what builds are good to steal? Whatever excites you, whatever inspires you, that should be your only basis of judgment. You can see the coolest build in the world that loses, but you're like, ooh, I like that. In fact, the most powerful Zerg vs. Protoss strategy I had in Brood War, I stole from a series where the Zerg got stomped 3-0. I thought, if he just made a couple of adjustments, that would be right up my alley. And I'd be like, ooh, yeah, all right. And it worked out so well. So let us see here. Taking one more question. Yeah, there's a couple of people asking along the lines of the same thing. There's two people, like N3 Scient and who's the other person? Wolfie Knight. Basically asking the same thing. How do you adjust this based upon what you scout? How do you end up doing that? I want to come back to the following idea that this is where you want to spend most of the time in your build order thinking about the unit mixes. And a lot of times, these refinement techniques will become separate from these. Like, for instance, I'm pretty darn good at never forgetting to build probes. And I'm pretty darn good at not missing my pylons. Because I've played Blizzard RTSs for 12 years. So that's just sort of in my blood. So now, when all of a sudden I'm in an intense, crazy situation, and I'm like, oh my god, I better build stalkers so I stay alive. I'm still not forgetting probes, and I'm still not forgetting pylons. So, this refinement step, I generally have like 15 to 30 games of refinement because I'm looking for a real specific timing. But I don't want you to do maybe that many games of refinement because I do want you to go onto the ladder and encounter problems and then come back and play in this building group and unit mix category. Still, if you see a Zerg player making a lot of Zerglings, you might say to yourself, ooh, my 5-gate Zealot push that I'm stealing from Squirtle, I'm not actually going to make Stalkers. I'm actually going to make more Zealots. That's fine. It's totally fine. Totally cool. Just make sure that you have nice refinement to your play. It's going to wrap up the daily for today. Please submit those Fun Day Monday replays. Please submit them Newbie Tuesday replays. I am hungry. I'm going to go get some food. Ooh, I think bread and brie sounds delicious. Bread and brie and green tea. Oh, what a great meal. Bye, guys. Bye. Send this to everyone you know. Send this to everyone you've ever met, because I think today's daily is quite applicable. Applicable. Bye, guys.